No queries? Okay.
Akhil, I have one.
Uh-huh.
I'll quickly share my screen. So I had to drop off the class yesterday, so I didn't go through it completely and didn't even get
Mm-hmm.
a chance to sort of um, uh, listen to the recording completely. But then I was just trying to uh, apply what we talked about yesterday. So is my screen visible, by the way?
Yes, your screen is visible.
Okay, so I try to create a folder structure, something like this. So I've got package one, wherein I've made a public class.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is the one public class, public. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and inside this class, so for example, I've got a public variable,
Okay.
one protected variable, one private variable, and one default variable.
Default variable. Right.
Okay, and similarly, one public method, private
Right.
method, protected
Right.
method, and default method.
Right.
And this is my default class.
And you would
So
have created the same structure here also.
same structure.
Okay.
All right.
Understood. Mm-hmm.
And this is my calling class in the same package.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm.
Now I created the object
Public
of
class one.
this public class. So
Mm-hmm.
public class P1 equals
Mm-hmm.
PCP1, right?
Mm-hmm.
PCP1 equals new public. Now I was expecting that once I uh, put a dot operator here, so
Mm-hmm.
at least these public variables
Mm-hmm.
uh, and public method at least should be visible, and then of course your default would also be there and protected would also be there, right? So those should
Mm-hmm.
show up. That is what I was expecting. However,
Mm-hmm.
nothing shows up, right? And even if I try to do, I thought maybe it's not showing somehow, and let me write it anyway,
Mm-hmm.
and so that it won't make any difference as such. I mean, the error would go, but then this is all giving me red, and I
The problem is, Atul, what you're doing wrong is, you're right. You're trying to line number five, right? Should be inside a method, not outside a method.
that too I've tried. No, but why? So for example,
You can,
this is a variable, right? I can assign some new value to it, isn't it?
no, you cannot do it. You cannot do it. You're not trying to create. You are not trying to. You're not initializing a variable, right? I mean, you're not declaring a variable which is a part of that class. Try to do it inside a method. You will find. You will get to know that it works there.
Even that didn't work. So okay, so
Okay.
I tried that. So for example, I was doing S out. It's not giving me. I mean, on tab, it's not giving me entire thing.
It will not work. First, create a method here. Create a method. Public
Okay.
void any method. Public void m1
Hmm.
m1. Open the braces, and now type whatever you want to type. First of all, s out work, right? Now type pcp1 dot. You will get everything, right?
And why it was not working otherwise?
See, you have to understand. Everyone has to understand. If you're trying to write your logic, right, it will be going inside the method only. It will not be working outside the method.
Hmm.
Outside the method, what you can do is you can create a new variable and assign some values to it. Right?
Got
It's not that you can start accessing the variables of the other classes outside the methods of another class like you were doing. You cannot do that.
got it. Hmm.
Okay. So I think you can test it now and it should be okay.
Got it. Got it.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much.
No worries. Yeah. Okay. I think let's start if no other queries. Okay. Let me share my screen now. Okay. So today's topic was static, string, and final. Okay. So let's start with string. Okay. Let's start with string. It should be, although we have already created string, but let's try to see what string is about. Okay, one thing which I am not covering as of now with purpose is, like, I'm not trying to explain you how things work in the memory, which is very essential for to understand how things really internally works in Java. I am keeping it. I'm trying to cover some more topics first so that I can start discussing that part. Okay, so but it would be a very interesting discussion. Whenever it happens, please make sure that you are joining that session. I'll update in the Discord channel whenever that is happening. Okay, let's start this part. Not this. Just a second. This part. What I'm saying is today we have to discuss about string. Okay, string, static, and final. I think final should be very easy. Let's do it this one first, right? So what I'll do is again I have to click on the project. So today is day 10. Let me first create the branch for today. Scanning files to index. I think it's done now. Okay, so in the terminal, get status. I think we are good. Nothing to commit. Let's create our new branch. Get checkout minus p day 10. And now over here, let me just remove everything from this. Delete, delete. So everything is deleted. Now we are going to start with our final thing, right? The final keyword. What is the final keyword? Let me first create a class. That's a final demo only. Okay. So I create a class like this, and see what we're talking about is we're talking about this keyword, final. We need to understand what is a final. Okay. And I think f is small, not f should not be capital. Final, right? Yes, f is small here. Okay. See, as the name says, final, right? What it means is that whatever you would be doing here, right? Whatever you'll be creating here, it would be like a finalized value. You cannot change that value. Okay, that is what the meaning of final. Okay. Although I don't use much final except for creating a constants variable, but we'll talk about it. So let's first create some variable. How do you create a normal variable? You create a variable like this. Let's say int a equals to, let's say I don't initialize it. Okay. And what I'll do is I'll create a magic method, and let's say some one more method, public void m1 and this. And here I would try to print the value of a. Okay, like this. And to invoke this method, what to do? I have to call this from this class, right? So from this method. So how to do it? I'll first create the instance of this class. Again, nothing about final as of now. We are not. We are just saying the usual process, like how do you make an invocation? That's it. So we did this, and how I can call the method m1 like this, right? So if you see the output now, what you will get? What would be the output? We learned about a lot of things yesterday, right? If I'm running this line, if I'm trying to run this method, what would be my output?
0.
0. Doesn't someone think of some other value?
ASCII value.
A sky value. Okay. Why a sky value?
So
A sky value was in terms of when you would assigning a character value, a character to a int, right? But here I just create a variable a which is of type int, and I've just not initialized it. But okay, tell me this, Siddesh, you tell me, is it a local variable or instance variable?
Instance.
It's an instance variable, right? And I
Yes.
told you instance variables are the ones who get the default values. And
Yes.
since it's an int value, what value it will get? 0.
0.
So that's why when this line would be trying to get printed, it will try to find the value of a. You did not provide it, so Java will provide one. Java will provide 0 as a default value. So let's run this. Okay, let's see. It's still trying to build. Right, we get 0 value here. Okay, now let's talk about this. If I do here, if I do something like this, a plus plus here, right? What does a plus plus means? A plus plus means, okay, I think we have not covered operators, all the operators, so we'll talk about those also, right? Or if I get time today, we'll talk about all of these today itself. But what does it really mean is you're trying to increase the value of a by 1. So what really you are typing here is you're saying a equals to a plus 1. So whatever value of a would be, you're trying to add 1 to it. So now after this line, if you try to print a, what will you get? Again, Siddesh, you tell me first. Let me just comment this out, and I'm asking if I do this now, what should be the output I be getting here?
So, 0 plus 1 is 1.
Right? You're absolutely right. This is what you will get, because a, you did not initialize the value, it is still 0, and now at line number 12 you're trying to add one value to it, right? So it is 0 plus 1, it will become 1. Let me run this. You will get 1 only, right? You got 1. And this is similar whether you write this or whether you write this thing, it is all same. So this is like a short form of writing this thing, right? Let me run this again just to show that it means this only. Okay, so it's 1 here, right? Now let's talk about final. Until now, I was just keeping this variable as int a, right? I was not adding the final keyword. Let us try to add a final keyword to it. How do you add? You just have to add in the front of it. Now, as soon as I added this, it is saying variable a might not have been initialized, right? Now, what is happening here is you can now question, okay, Akhil, you told us like if we do not initialize the instance variable, I mean, why? I mean, that if that is allowed in Java, why we are getting such error here? You're getting such error here because you have marked this variable as final. Now, when you are marking something as final, right, what it means is that the value of it cannot be changed, right? And here, since you are mentioning it here, right, the final thing, it is asking to please initialize it for this value. So let's say I provide this 10, right? You can see now the error at least on this line is gone, right? But here now I can see an error on line number 11, because at line number 11 it will try to change the value of a, which will defeat the purpose of using the final keyword. Okay, so that's what, so the meaning of final keyword is if you assign that final thing to a variable, right, you cannot change the value of that variable anymore. You cannot change it. Okay, let me, you can see, right, it throws cannot assign a value to final variable a, right? You cannot do it. Wherever you would have initialized it, right, at that point only you can provide a value to it. Why, in which cases you will, okay, for us, right, as an automation engineer, where we will find value of using this final keyword, you will try to use this. Just a second, huh? Okay, so what I was saying, so here, right, I have marked this as final. So it will say, it is saying that you cannot reinitialize this value. Once done, it is over. And then for us as an automation engineer, right, what you will find that you would be using this final keyword to create your constant values. Let's say what could be the constant? If I give you a problem statement of finding the, let's say, the radius of a circle, right? I think the formula is pi r square, right? Pi r square, right? So pi, if you remember, right, pi has a very constant value, which is 3.14, right? It will never have any other value, right? So you could create a variable of saying pi. You could do something like this: float pi equals to, what is the value? I don't remember pi. What is the value of pi? 3.14, right? Sorry, I forgot my
Yes, 3.1.
3.14, right? 3.14 f, right? So now, but here, right? So pi cannot be. I mean, pi does have this value only, right? But if I don't mark it as final, right? Someone here can come in and maybe change the value of pi by doing this. Let's say, right? You could do this, or you could reinitialize it by something else. Pi plus equals to 5.89, let's say, right? You could do something like this. Oh, why it is complaining? You got here f, right? So you could do this, but as soon as I mark it as final, right, the my code will make sure that no one is able to make any modifications to it, right? So what is the use of final in our case? We will try to use this final to make sure that I mean, if we have a need to create a constant kind of a variable which whose value will not change once it is initialized. Okay, like this is one case. Now let's say I am asking you to print the value of pi. Let's say trying to find the yes, Fizula, that is also one of the case. But again, there are different ways to it, right? If you're trying to get the endpoint, let's say for an API, right? There, yes, the base credential, the base URL would work for that way. But if you need to append after it, then you will have to use some other variables to hold it. But yeah, I think we are getting the point, right? That it has to be final. You will be using to use to hold a constant value which you cannot change later on. Let's see if we can make, which I don't know actually. I will try here only. Can we make our method as final? Public void final. Public final void m1. Yes, I can do it. But what is the purpose of it? Of creating a final method? This I don't know actually. I will have to figure it out. Why would we would mark our method as final? Does anyone know why we would mark our method as final?
So it is not overridden by the subclasses when it comes in terms of
Ah,
inheritance and all.
yes, you're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. Ah, there's too much in Java. Yeah, you're right. So, okay, Fizula very correctly said this is for that purpose only, right? Now, since you see, again, I think we have not talked about overriding and overloading it, right? So let's not go there, but we will try to understand this when we'll talk about polymorphism, okay, which is a part of our OOPS concept. So I think next week we are going to work on that part. So we'll discuss about the use of final in the methods in that section, okay? Why you could use final keyword for your method here. But one thing which I can tell you here is, let's just remove here, right? What you could do is you can also accept some inputs in your method also, right? Like this, int a, int b, right? And let's just remove these final keywords here from here, okay? And here what I will do is, so let me remove this part also, and let me provide the value. So if I say 5 comma 6 here, if I print this a plus b here, right? If I do something like this and I print this, again nothing related to final, it just prints the value, right? Whatever you're getting, a and b, right? 5 and 6. And if I try to do this a plus plus here, see, now this time, right, a and b are not instance variable, right? I have removed it from here. A and b are what? Local variables, right, everyone? And here I'm trying to increase the value inside the logic of the method. I'm trying to change that value, right? The value which I'm receiving, whoever is making the invocation. So I passed 5 and 6. Here I am increasing those values and then I'm printing. So what would be printed here? 6 and 7. Earlier it was printing 5 and 6. So let's run this. You see, 6 and 7 is getting printed. If you mark these variables as final, you first of all you can do this, okay? First of all, this is allowed. You can mark your these variables as final also. Now what will happen is, as the rules of final says, if you mark something as final, the whatever value you will get, that is finalized. You cannot make a modification to it. And you can see at line number 11 and 12, it started complaining, right? Cannot assign a value to final variable A, right? So you cannot do this. So this is not allowed. So anywhere you use final, at least for the variables part, just understand you cannot reinitialize that variable with any other value, or increase or decrease or some or modify any value for it. So the final keyword is, it, as the name says, it is a finalized value. No modifications allowed. Okay. And let us try to create one more local variable inside the method. Okay. One more thing, right? We talked about local variables yesterday and told you whatever method, whatever variable, right, you create inside the methods are called what? Local variables, right? Also, if you are accepting the arguments, right, like these, here A and B are also local variables. Okay. So these two are also will be also be considered as local variables only, right? And in C, as we explained yesterday, in C is anyhow the local variable. So whatever rules apply for this C, right, the same rule apply for A and B also. Okay. Now this is int C, and again you can mark. Let's say I create int C as 7, and if I print here 7, right? If I try to print this, it will print what? As of now, it will print 5, 6, and 7. 5, 6, and 7, right? Let me mark this also as final. First of all, you can also mark this as final, right? And let me increase the value of this. Again, the same rule, right? You cannot increase the value. You cannot modify the value. Okay, I think this is enough, right? So with any variable, you mark that variable as final. You cannot modify the value of it, whether it's int, string, or anything else. Okay, just remember that part. Okay, I think we are good. Let's just create one more variable, final int d, and let it be, so that is okay. Since you are not initializing it, he will have to ask you. Okay, and we are good here. So I think final we are done, right? So I hope no issues on the final part, right? Regarding the method part, where you could mark final keyword to a method and what benefit, or I mean, what is the use case in that case? We'll talk about it in case of polymorphism. We'll discuss that part. Okay, let's talk about the second part, which is string. What are strings, right? Again, I think we discussed that part, that with the purpose of using a string, I mean, any variable of type string, right? It is to hold a text value, right? That is what the purpose of having a string. But we have to understand a lot of other things about string, like what it is, right? Now I'm create a class string demo, and here what I'll do is I will again create a magic method, and what I will do is, okay, so here, right, string demo, and let's do here, right? I don't. Let me first create one variable, let's say inside, directly inside the main method, and I will create it as string name equals to Akhil. Again, the purpose of using a string variable is to hold a text value, right? More than one character, right? That is what the purpose of using the string, right? So let's place it here, let's say Akhil, and it has to be under double quotes. Okay. See, I'm trying to discuss a string with a separate topic, is because string is very important. Okay, you will find a lot of questions on string itself, uh, maybe the some interviews questions, right, or the programming questions which people can ask you in the interview itself. So I thought it is better to cover this as a separate module only, right? So let's try to understand this part. But still, after our today's discussion, right, about the memory management part of string, right, it would still remain. We will discuss it maybe next week. Okay. So memory management part for every variable is missing. So let it be that way. Now, till now we have been seeing this, right? That you write that if you have to create a variable of type string, this is how you do it. First of all, tell me, this is name is a variable, and this is a value which you have assigned. What is string here?
Data type.
uh, Sally, if you said something I cannot hear, can you be loud?
Data type.
Data type. Okay. uh okay, if it is data type, uh do you know, like, can I say string is a class or no? Do you know?
Yes.
Okay. uh
As a class.
your voice is very low, Sally. I don't know why.
We haven't declared it as a class, right?
Okay. That see that is what I wanted to hear from people, right? That we have not declared it as a class. Okay. See, it is not only you who create classes, right? Java already has a lot of classes created, okay, inside the Java part, so that you could use it. So string is one such class, right, which is created by Java, okay, and you are here trying to create a variable name, right, and mentioning that name is of type string. Did it make sense or no?
No, actually confusing.
Okay, okay, okay. See again, but again, the I want to provoke this thought right here, that why I'm saying all this, right? If you get stuck to that portion also, na, then also it is a good thing for me, because then you will start thinking what is Akhil saying. Okay, now think about it. When you created this int age equals to 10 here, right? If you do this here, right, I told you int is a primitive data type. Int is a primitive data type, right? So I told you, like, there are only handful of these data types, which are the only things are in Java which are not classes or objects. Okay, apart from it, everything else in Java you would find these are like classes or objects only. String is a class. It's an inbuilt class provided by Java. Okay, and you will say, okay, Akhil, but I thought that if we have to create a variable, I only need to provide data type and int is a data type. So how we are able to provide string as a data type here? Okay. See, I told you in the first day when we were discussing about data types, right? There are two types of data types. There is that window there. When we talked about data types, I told you there are two types of data types. One is primitive and other is non-primitive. When you talk about primitive, these are those data types which are which are which are not objects or classes, right? Whatever you want to say. Okay, and this non-primitives are the ones which are classes or objects, right? Now, what was the example of primitive? Int, long, short, byte. These are all the examples of primitive types from the integer family. Similarly, float, double, right, are a example of primitive data type from float family. Similarly, char and boolean, right? So these are the only things in Java which are not classes or objects. Okay. Apart from it, anything else you will see in Java, I'm 100% sure it would be only classes or objects only. Okay. So what have we missed here? String is missed. String is what? String is placed here. And I said this is a non-primitive. As I said, it's a non-primitive. You have to understand that string must be a class then. Okay. So string is a class. Now, if you have a thought in mind that Akhil, that when we create variables, we the syntax looks like this, that we provide data type and then we gave the variable name and then we provide a value, right? This is how the syntax looks like, right? So I understand that if I have to give age and I have to give a value 60, I know what data type to use in case of primitive type. Let's say it's an int. I will say int here. But in case of this, right, why we are saying that string is a data type? The string is a data type, right? This is how you write a variable of string, right? People may have a thought, okay, this is matching to this is matching to this, right? What about this? This we understood it's a data type, but here it's a class, right? It's a class name. Why are we providing class name as a data type? Because this is what the main, I mean, this is the reason, right? The Java, this is what I mean, you are trying to achieve through Java. You're trying to create your own data types, right? Not, you're not restricted to this part, right? Okay, not okay. Again, first of all, you have to understand that you can do this, right? First of all, you have to remember that you can do this. You can create a variable of any class type. If you remember, Siali, right? Yesterday when we were creating some, let's see this. If I create a class of animal, right? If I create a class of animal like this, and if I create, okay, let's leave it this way, right? I just create an empty class, and if I go to my, let's say, string demo here, right? And if I write this line here, animal, let's say reptile, I don't know what, mammal, let's say mammal, right? Mammal, right? See here, this is what variable name, right? Equal to, and this is on the right hand side, you would be assigning some values, right?
Yes.
In case of let's say in this case, right, what you would be normally doing is you will be creating like this, right?
Yeah.
Right, but here what you're doing is you're creating the instance of a class and assigning it to a variable which is the name mammal, but what is the type of it? Animal. Okay, now
Yes.
you have to understand this. Why do we create classes? We create classes in Java so that we can use them to create instance of it, right? And you can assign it to a variable which is of that type. So string is one such class which is provided by Java, which is very helpful for us, because if we have to work with text, we know that okay, there is an inbuilt class which Java is already providing, right? And we make use of it. So first of all, understand string is a class. If you want to see this, just if you're using IntelliJ, right, just hover over string here, right? It itself shows that it's a class, right? Public final class string, right? And see here, you could also mark class as final. Okay, but okay, leave that part as of now. But just focus on this part. That string is a class here. If you want to see the code of it, right, just select this, press Control from your keyboard and click on it. IntelliJ, being very intelligent, it will decompile, or it will bring the, it will show you the code, right, which the developer would have written for the string part. You can see public final class string. It is this is how it is implemented by the Java developers, right here. Okay, so you can see this. So string is a class. Okay, and you, I think with this example it would be making sense that you can use this. Now you will be saying, okay, string is a class and animal is a class. Why, I mean, how is this possible? Shouldn't it be written like this? String name to, let's say, another variable. Shouldn't I be writing like this? Please tell me, is it possible? Can I write, if I want to create a string, an object of string, right? Can I do this or not?
Yes.
I can. Why? Because string is a class, and this is how you create the object, right, Shelly? If I have, if let's say, forget about that string is an inbuilt class, just remember that string is a class. So how do you create the instance of it? Like this only, right?
Yes.
This is what you can do,
Yeah.
right? And see, it is not giving me an error. So this is also allowed in Java.
Yeah.
You can see this, right? It is allowing me to do it. But why is this, I mean, allowing me to do? If I try to do it same thing with animal, will it work? Let us check. Let me give it mammal too. And let me try to give you a name. Let's say elephant. Will it work? No, it does not work. It does not work, right? Okay. See here again, right? The purpose of string variable, I mean the string class, is that it has to store the text, right? That is the whole purpose of creating the class, right? The developers of this string class, right, whoever developed this, right, they developed in a way that you could still, that you could write either this way or you could write in this way, right? This is something which you created, right? And you have not built this class in a way where it could accept a variable like this. Okay, so this is not allowed. Okay, or you could just understand in this way that string is a very special class, okay, coming from Java, where you could either create it this way, the normal way, right? Here we have not provided a value. What you can do is you can provide a value here inside the package like this. Okay, now what will happen is this is very similar, this is this thing, and this thing is same. Okay, so what Java has done is, those developers have done is, they have gave us the capability to not write everything like this new string and all, right? And just simply give the value. But internally what is happening is it is doing something this only. Okay, so it's like a shortcut which the Java developers has provided us to write to work with the string variables. Okay, but internally what is happening is, this is what it is happening, it will create a new instance of a string class and provide the value of it. Now what is this, right? People who do not know this, this is like this is like a constructor calling. Constructors we have not talked about, so again leave it aside. Okay, but I just wanted to tell you that by looking at here you may think that string is like a normal data type. It is not a normal data type, it's a non-primitive data type, right? Which is like a class. Okay, it looks very similar to this, right? Int age equals to 60. So people gets confused. Okay, maybe if this is how you create, because people know, right? If you have to create an instance of a class, this is the only syntax, right? This is the only syntax if you have to create the instance of a class. So ideally string should work only this way, right? And because people don't even see this, they don't even know that you could write a string variable like this, and you could write, and what they know is that they can do this only, right? So what they think is, okay, then maybe string is also a primitive data type, which is not true, right? String is not a primitive data type because string is a class, right? And what are primitive data types? Those are those data types which are not not classes or objects. But string is a class, and this is how it is. And string has a, I mean, an exceptional case where you could create the value. I mean, you could create um, the 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 reference variable of the string class, right? See here again, this is creating this is creating the instance of a string class with what value? With value as Akhil. Okay, and it is assigning is to variable. So this part and this part is same. What I'm saying is, so how generally you do, how do you assign a value to a variable? You do this, int age equals to 50. Similarly, people are aware of this part, that you could create, if you have to store a name, you will do something like this. And this is what we have learned. Now, seeing this syntax and this syntax, we assume that, okay, even maybe since we know int is a primitive data type, so so we are sure that string is also a primitive data type, which is not true. It is not that case, right? A string is a non-primitive data type, right? Because string is a class. It's a class, right? But you have to understand that this string class has an exceptional behavior where you could, instead of writing this string name equals to new string and Akhil, right? Instead of doing this, you can simply do this. It's like a shortcut here. Okay, is it clear now, everyone? That string is a class, it's not a primitive data type.
Yes, so do we also have any other data types which are also classes in Java, same as string?
We just created one, right? We just created an animal class.
No, the way you have showed now that we are not.
This one,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like
this-
like not doing this and creating like this
Yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, I will have to think. I think it is not. I
Integer.
don't know. Is it there, Atul?
Integer.
Ah, okay. We are going under auto boxing and the other parts. Okay, okay. Yes. Then
Not
then
not sure if that answers Sayali's question, but I think she was asking if there is any other class which is non-primitive and
Hmm.
can be used as a data type.
So, Akhil, can you use a string builder? It's a one type of class. We can use this one also.
Don't use string builder or string buffer as of now. Okay,
Okay.
don't use them, and please don't bring that topic into the discussion of string as of now. It will confuse a lot of people. So I'm not covering those two parts. Okay, so let's
Okay.
leave it aside. We will simply work on string as of now, and let's just forget about those two things, right? And so again, if you leave it out, let's go back to what Sally asked, right? Sally, your question is, can we create any other class and try to hold a value like this instead of this, right?
Yes, yes. Yeah,
This
yeah,
is your
yeah.
question. I
Yes.
will think about it, like what this string has done internally to achieve this part. Like they can do it this way. I am not sure. Okay, I'm not sure, and I don't even know can we really do it or not. Okay, but in case of, like as Atul was saying, right, there are different classes which we will talk about later in the collections part. I'm not talking about them now. Okay, but there are certain examples which you will find, but if I tell you, start giving you those examples now, you will get more confused. So I'm not giving those examples. So as of
Yeah.
now, just remember that string is the only class in Java with which you can do this way. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Okay. Let's do it this way. Just understand that string is the only exception. Okay.
Okay, okay.
Okay. Great. Now, okay. So we did this. Now, if I will say, Sally, if let's say I have written a class like this, right? Here, like the animal only, right? And I have a string variable here. Let's say int a equals to 10, right?
Yeah.
I've created a variable here. Now I will ask you, Sally, can you create me a variable of animal type? What do you understand that by that part?
Variable of animal type.
If I say you that please create a variable of animal type, what will you do? First of all, it's a valid statement. Okay, so there should not be any confusion that whether I'm saying right or wrong. It's a valid statement which I'm making. I'm asking, please create a variable of animal type. Not give. Try to use whatever you have learned till now and answer me. First of all, this is possible. How you will do it?
Mhm.
How do you create a variable? First, tell me that.
By using the data type variable name and initializing it.
Right, like this data
Yeah, yeah.
type, variable
Variable
name,
name.
and initializing it, right? Like
Yeah,
let's say this
yeah.
way, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
let's first do whatever you know. Tell me the variable name. What should I use here?
Um, Animal, right?
Right.
Variable type animal. Yeah, animal.
So should I write capital A?
Uh,
Let's say that I want to have a variable of animal type, and the name of that variable should be lion. So what should I type here? Animal or lion?
Lion.
Lion, right? And let's say, mm, okay, on the right hand side, just ignore this part as of now. Okay, let's just ignore. But
Yeah.
what should I type here on this
Then it
part?
will be animal.
Animal, right? Why
Yeah.
did you say animal?
Because you said the data type should be animal.
Right. See,
Yeah,
understand this, right? And try to
yeah,
see here. You're trying to create a variable of type animal, right?
yeah, yeah.
And here animal is something which you created, not Java. Java is not providing you that. So
Yes.
it means that Java allows you to create custom data types.
Okay.
Okay. So try to understand, how do you create custom data types? By creating classes. Think
Mm,
about, I mean,
okay.
think from this perspective, right? There are multiple ways to understand things, but at this point of time, understand from this perspective. What you have done is, whenever you are creating a class, think of it like you are creating a custom data type for which you could use it and create a variable out of it, right?
Okay. Yes.
Okay, think in this way. So what are the primitive data types? The ones which Java provides you and says these are not classes, int and all that, right? Whatever we discussed. What are non-primitive data types? These are those data types which are classes, right? And we have used one of them which Java provides, which is string. But we are from day one itself, right? We are creating custom data types, right? And we are using it. You do this, right? You keep doing this new animal, right?
Yeah.
You keep doing this, right? What are you doing? You're creating an instance of a animal class, which is fine. You're creating an
Yes.
object of an animal class, but what you're doing is you're assigning it to a variable which is with the
Called
name
lion.
lion.
Yes.
But what is the data type of it? Animal, and this is called as custom data type here, because this is the one which you created, not Java. Okay.
But then why we are not only using custom data type every time? Why we did that new thing every time then? If we are given the privilege to use the custom data type, sorry, creating the custom kind of classes and using it as a data type.
Okay. So see, with anything, right? Let's say you want to okay, tell me one thing. Uh you have played with that game which where you get small blocks and you club them together to build a house, right? I don't know, like, what do we call it, but that is how it is, right? Think of it like a program, right? Like a programming language. So Java, being a programming language, gave you a lot of basic those different blocks, right? Now using those blocks you're trying to build something, right?
Yeah.
So it's not that you will start manufacturing those blocks, right? Whatever is being provided from that toy, right? You are going to use them to build whatever you want to build because of it. So similarly here, right, there are a lot of things which Java is anyhow providing you, right, which you have to use to build what you want to build. You wanted to build a automation framework which you can build through Java's concepts, right? And it will require you to build a lot of different classes. But to create those classes, to define those classes, right, you need the basic building blocks which we are learning here.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not that you have to do everything from scratch. There are a lot of things which Java is already providing. And think of it this way, right? Java is providing so much to you, and still you require to build something on top of it using it, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, from again, just it's a matter of perspective only, right? How you start thinking. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I think this point is getting clear to everyone, right? Right, Sudhakar, Ashok, Sidesh.
Yes, got it. Yes.
Okay, great. Uh, did Azhar join today or no? Azhar joined, right? Azhar, this is clear to you,
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah, I'm here, sir.
Okay, great. Okay, great. Okay, so let's move ahead, right? So what I told you is, like, it's like a string is like a class, is like a data type, right? But in how, what is in it, what's a string? String is a class. Now tell me, answer another thing. Since string is a class, what does class have? We talked about this, right? A class can have what? Class can have two things. One, the variables, and the second is methods. Right, everyone?
Yes.
We are okay with this part also, right?
Yes.
Now let's see. We try to create an instance of a string class, right? Now think of it this way, right? If you're writing this, right, what you are doing is you are creating the instance of a string class, right? And you're storing it in what variable? Name, right? Let's see here, right? If you see this statement here, what are you doing? As soon as you see a new keyword, it is creating an object. It creates an object of string class, right? This is called as variable, right? Although in terms of when you use classes here, right, it is termed as reference variable, but let's term it as only variable, right? Okay, variable. And what is the data type of it? It is string, right? Data type or the class name, whatever you want to say now, it is this. So if you write this or you write this, it is the same thing. So here you've created an instance of a string class, right, which is pointing to this Akhil. Okay. And then you're saying, I mean, here what is happening is, you can, this is the variable name here, right? So okay, let's not say this way, let's do it this way. Let me show you. I think it would get clear here. Okay, let me create another variable. I will type here, let's say, gender. Okay, string gender, and I will say new string, and I will provide male here. Okay, I did this. Now like any other class, right? If you look at this class, let's say animal class, right? This is the animal class. If I have to access the method of animal class, how would I do it? Other. If I have to access the method of animal class, how do I do it? Azhar, you there?
Yes, sir.
So if I have to access the method of the animal class, and this is the variable which is pointing to this object, how can I access the method which may reside inside the animal class? Let me create some methods. I think there are no methods. Let me get a method. Public void eat, let's say. Okay. And let me type here animal. Animal is eating. So let's go back to this class here, right? Now I want to access that method which I created as eat inside the animal class. How can I do it? Do you know?
We have to call the method.
So tell me the syntax, right?
Okay. E
What should I type? Let me show you the animal class also if you are getting confused somewhere. Now see this.
we have to call the animal method.
Animal method. Animal is a class name.
Yeah, sorry.
Method is eat.
Miss eat. Yeah, we have to call the eat method.
So what should I type here? Tell me at line number 7.
Eat.
Okay, I should type eat. Okay, great. Let's type eat. But it throws an error. Why it is throwing an error? Because it does not know what is eat. How would you know about eat? What is that thing here which knows about eat? This thing here, right?
Yes.
You're trying to create the instance of the object of animal class using this highlighted syntax, and you're assigning that object to this variable. So this variable knows about the animal class now. So if you have to access anything inside the animal class, what you will do is, at least in this class, right? What you will do is you will use this variable here. What you'll do is you will say you will use mammal and then a dot operation on it. And what it will show you, it will show you everything which is residing inside the animal class. So currently we have only one thing, which is eat. So it shows that method, right?
Yes.
So this is how you write it. Similarly, think about string now, right? I have created a new instance of a string class and just forget about it. Let's just say that this is how you provide the value, right? Or if you, okay, right, this is what you've done. And let's say I want to access the methods which my string class would be providing. Now tell me, Siddesh, what should I type here? I want to access the methods of my string class.
So
Here.
reference variable dot, we have access all the methods of string class.
So what should I type here? Tell me.
Gender dot,
Gender dot.
yeah, because it's a reference variable.
You're saying gender, right? I cannot hear that part actually.
Yeah,
Okay,
gender.
gender. Dot, right?
Yes.
Absolutely correct. This is how you do it. Okay. And now see the methods which you're getting. You're getting so many methods. To lowercase, to uppercase, length, compare to, replace, contains, split, substring, index
What is
of.
happening exactly? I didn't got it. The first one, the way we called that method, I understood that one. Mammal.eat method. We called it from different program in this class.
Right.
So what is happening now in this? Why only gender dot?
If I have to access, see, this is okay. Let me remove this mail part first. Okay. Now, do you think this is same? Now this line and this line is same, right? This is following the syntax of if you have to create the instance of a class. This is what the format you have to write. This is the syntax which you have to use, right?
Yeah.
So even this is the class which you created. This is a class which Java has built inbuilt class, right? But the way to access that class, to create that instance of the class, the syntax is same, right?
Yeah.
Now, in the case of animal, right? If you wanted to access the methods which are sitting inside the animal class, how you do it? You will access it through this variable name, mammal.
Yeah.
So similarly, if I have to access the methods which would be created by Java developers inside the string class. How will I get them? Here, by using this gender variable, right?
Yeah, okay. But we are not calling anything, or we don't want anything to be coming from different program. In this program itself, we just want this method to be called.
See, this string class, right, is an inbuilt Java class, right? And
Yeah.
it has a lot of methods which are of importance for us, which can help us to reduce that work. Let's say I give you a name all small as Akhil, right? And I give you a program, Sally, please write a program to print whatever input I provide you. Your output should be that it should print everything in caps. So what you will do? You can create your own logic. Let's say you're able to create your own logic, but why to waste that time if you know that there is already a solution provided by Java in the string class? And what is that method which they provide? The method is this. You will use gender first and then dot, and you will see it says a two uppercase. Okay, so what this will do is this is a method inside the string class. Let's see this. It says converts all the characters in the string to uppercase using the rules of the default local. Okay, so what does this see? And this is how the method was created inside the string class by the Java developers, and you are just calling that method, right? See, it is like this only, right? Let me create a string demo class for you. Okay, I already have a string demo. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me create a class as string A. Okay, let's say that Java did not provide that inbuilt class. It is me who is providing that inbuilt class. So let me create a dummy class, string A, right? So this is my string class, and over here, what I'll do is I will create certain methods. And let's say this is something which I am. Let's say that you don't know about. Okay, let's think about this. Let's say that I am that Java developer who created that string class. So what I did was I started creating a class with the name of string A, right? And I think let this class should have some helping methods which can help anyone, which can help or which can solve some of the problems for the people who want to use its string class. Like if a string is provided to me, let's say someone wants to print it in uppercase, right? So let me provide a method to them. So what I'll do is I will say public, uh, let's say void, let's say void to uppercase. Let's say I wrote this case to uppercase, and here I will say, let's say provide me the value which you want to convert to uppercase, right? And here I will write the logic which I need to write to do that processing, right? Let's say I write a lot of things here. Let me say, right? So this is, let's say this is a logic which I've written to perform that conversion of this Akhil into like this, right? So you will receive an input like this here. Whoever calls this method, and the objective of this method here is that it should return a value like this. You getting that point, right, Sally?
Yeah, yeah.
So let's say I built this method, right? So this is only one method. So let's say there are hundreds of such methods, helper methods, which are string, which can help us to work on a piece of text. Let's say I'm doing two uppercase. I can have a two lowercase. I can, let's say, extract some information from the complete statement. Let's say I just want to extract the characters 4, 5, 6, right, from a text which is of 10. Let's say this, right? Let's say I'm saying this is the input which I provided to my method. Let's say I have another method, public void. Uh, what is this? What is the method name to extract? Let's say extract only. Extract, right? And here it will take the input here. Let's say of whatever string you want to have, plus it will tell me the your starting character from which you want to extract thing. So I will take the position, and what I will say is, and I will write the logic here, right, inside this. So let's say I received an input of Akhil, and I also received 2. So what this output, what this method will be doing for me is, it will return me this HIL. Why? Because this is starting from the This is 0 position, this is first position, this is second position. So it will return me this output, right? So similarly, you can have hundreds of such kind of helper methods within the string class, which can be of value to us, maybe in writing some logic which we want to do, right?
This is something special we have in Java.
Sorry.
So this is some special class in Java which is providing us so many features.
See, every class is a special class, right? Because those classes, any class can have any number of methods. It is on you if you are building yourself a class. So it is on you what capabilities you want to provide from that class. Similarly, when Java provided this string class, right, they decided that we want to provide these many capabilities to my users who would be using the string class, right?
Yeah.
So that is this is what we are getting, right? I
Okay.
hope now it is getting clear, right? So what I'm saying is, if you see this gender, this class here, right, string class, it has so many helper methods, and how can you access it here is, you can access it through this variable name, right? You used it, dot and two uppercase, right?
Yeah.
Now,
We
if
can
you
use it only after creating that instance, right? The way you have created it using that syntax.
we'll come to that part. I'll answer that part also. But as of now, just understand in a usual way of how you create classes, right? And how do you use it. Now it should be very clear to you, right? What is happening here, right?
Yeah.
Now let's print this so that we know that it is really doing something. So let me provide an input here. Let's say Akhil, all small, okay, and we will see that it will return some output. Okay, let me comment everything else.
What is that original keyword coming over there inside the bracket?
Just a second. What?
That original keyword, why it is coming inside the bracket? Before actually? Yeah.
This is some IntelliJ thing, right? It is saying that right. Just ignore it as of now. Okay. So I provided this, and if you run this, what is the output you should expect here? Sally, you tell me.
Akhil should be coming in everything in uppercase.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. You see, Akhil here is being getting printed.
Yeah.
Now coming to your second question, which you asked, right? That you think that okay, if I'm writing a string like this, then only this will be applicable, right? You can access a method like this. But as I told you, whether you write this way, string name equals to Akhil, right, or this way, right? For Java, both means the same thing. Okay, it is like if you write this, right, Java will internally convert this line into what? Into a line like this. Okay, and this is happening only for string class. Okay, hold that rule with you, right? Just understand this string is a special class which allows us to do this way. Not every class will allow us to do this way. Okay, right? So if you want, if you now earlier I was using gender here, right? If I use name here, so this two uppercase is coming from this name instance, right? And what will happen in this case? Let me write here Akhil Jain all here, right? And if I run this now, what will be getting printed? Akhil Jain in all caps, right? See, you have to understand that you can create in a string variable like like in these two cases, right? You can do it either of this way. But what is more comfortable for you? You will why would you write all these extra things, right? If you can create a string variable like this, right? Why will you write this? And that is why it is, see, string is a very I mean, it would be the most used class here, right? When it comes to working with the text value. So it's you can understand like it's providing you the ease of writing less, right? Of writing less and getting more as a value, right? See, again, the rule of programming is that developers are lazy. They don't want to write too many things. They want to write less and want to receive a lot from the output. Okay, so considering that way, you have reduced your number of characters you type by at least 9-10 letters, right? You don't have to write all this. You can just simply provide a value. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And the second thing which you have to understand is here name is like a reference variable which is pointing to this object, right? Whatever that is. And since string was a class, you can access the method like this, right? You use the variable name dot and the methods, whatever method string class provides, you will get access to all those methods. Okay,
Yeah.
right, everyone? I think no one has a question on this. Okay, now the next part is let's see what all methods does string provides us, or which is of value for us. Okay, let me just try to list down them and just try to understand them. Okay. Okay, what happened here? Close this, close this. So what are the methods which we should be knowing at least about the string class? And today's assignment or your practice would be that you should go back and play with all these methods, okay? How they are working. So we already saw about to uppercase. So there's a method to uppercase. What it does is it converts your text to all caps, okay? It converts all text you provide to uppercase. Okay, this is what it does. Second method similar to this is to lowercase. So this converts your all text to lowercase. Okay. There is a, let's say, okay, let me give an example also. If I type Akhil here, it will print AKHIL. Okay. And in the other case, if I provide like this AKHIL, so what will this will provide? This will provide all small. It does not care whether you provide up or small. In the end, it will provide you a lowercase value, right? There is another method, I think, character add. Okay, so what does this do? Again, you have to understand that for string also, right? If you count number of characters here, other, tell me how many characters do I have here in the Akhil here? Other, not there. Just one.
Sorry, cat, the positional value.
Just one.
We
Hello.
have 5 characters, Akhil.
5 characters, right?
Yeah.
Just one. Tell me one thing. From what is the index position of this A here in
Zero.
string? 0, right?
Yeah.
So in string also the starting position of your first letter is not 1, it is 0.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, something to learn here, that in string also, right, you do have 5 characters here, right, which is correct, but the starting position is not 1, it is 0. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So L is placed at 4th position, A is placed at 0 position, but in total how many values you have? 5 values. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So 5 characters you have inside a string variable here. So this char at value, right, if you use a char at method, right, and if you provide, so what it accepts, it accepts a position number. So you have to tell a position. Let's say I say here character at 2. What this will get me
H.
as 0, 1, 2, right? H. It will print, it will get me H here. As the name says, it will return me a character which is placed at the given position. What is that given position? This is how it will get to know about this, because you will provide that input. You are asking here, please give me the character which is placed at second position. So it will go in and check. It will say, okay, A is at 0, K is at 1, okay, H is the one which is at 0 position. So the output would be H here. Okay, whatever character you have, whether upper or lower, it does not matter. Whatever that value is, it will be written. So this is that method. There is one more method. See, as of now, we know that the length of this Akhil is what, 5 here. But let's say you don't know, you want to get it printed, right? What you can use is you can use a, I don't know, it's a method or a variable. Let me just check. So, name dot length. It's a method. So if you want to print the number of characters you have in that string, you can use this method. So it will print the number of characters you have. So how many characters do I have? 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it will print me 5 here. Okay. So to uppercase, to lowercase, char at, length, And let me do this also, right? Name dot length. Okay, so name dot length, it will name dot length to uppercase to lowercase, and let's just copy the character at part. I want to print, let's say, character at the position of let's say 4 position, right? So what it will print, let's run all of this, right? So this is my value here, right? So how many, what should be the output of length? It will count number of the characters it has. Let's run this. I think this is very straightforward, right?
But the two you have given in both of the ways, right? So we have to disable one thing or not?
No, you're calling it on what variable? You're calling it on name, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Okay.
it will use this value, right? You're
Okay,
not
okay.
working on gender.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So now see the what did you got? The first output is, it is saying you have 9 characters. Let's read this AKHIL. It is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So which is correct? Uppercase all caps, lowercase all small. Character at 4. So let's see. This is 0. A is at 0. K is at 1. H is at 2. I is at 3. L is at 4. So we got L here, right? Let's talk about other methods. Name dot. Let's see how many methods we have more. So caret we did, 2 lowercase, 2 uppercase we did. Ignore get bytes and all. Substring. This is one of the important method. Let's correct this first. Now what is substring? Substring is like you have a big string, and from that string you want to extract a sub part of it. Let's say here I want to grab the letters from I to J. Okay, I want to extract. I know that my okay. Let me write this. Akhil Kumar Jain, right? So this is my complete name, Akhil Kumar Jain, right? So let's say, right? So I know that this complete name here has a middle name, okay? Where the but here, right? And I just, let's say someone provided me this input, and I want to extract the middle name, right? And I'm told that the middle name would be is starting from position. What is this position? 6 or 5, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it starts from 5th position, and it goes from 5th to 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. So I want to get values from 5th to 9th or 10th, whatever that value is. Let's try. So what you can do is, you need to provide the starting index position from where you want to extract the value till the position from the ending position, right? So start position and the end position. So what is my start position? The one which is pointing to this K, and the one which is pointing to the R. Let's say it is 5 and 9. Let's try to do this. So this is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's see what do we get. And let's just, if you want to read about this, right, you can just hover over a method and it will show you this thing, right? And you can see here, it says returns a string that is a substring of the string. The substring brings at the specified begin index and extends to the character at index this. If you see this example here, right, it says hamburger dot substring 48. So it returns, it returns this. Let's try to understand this. H is at 0, A is at 1, M is at 2, B is at 3, U is at 4. So it will start from here. So R is at 5, it will be printed. G is at 6th, E is at 7th, and R is at 8th. Okay. Okay. 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So it prints 1 minus 1 value. Okay. Okay. Let's read this. It says the range only. Begin index and end index. Okay. And here what it is saying. Just a second. See, there are certain things which you have to take care of. Okay. Because the beginning index inclusive. You can see, right? It says the begin index should be the one from which you want to extract. So it is inclusive. The ending index, whatever you provide, right, it will not include that value, but a penultimate value to it. So in my case, Let's understand this part. And you will find such behavior in a lot of different methods also. So we're talking about this method here, which is substring, and it accepts two range. It accepts the first value as begin index, begin position, and it is the next is end position. Let's talk about this Akhil Jain, right? Akhil Jain here, right? Let's say I provide here value as 3 comma 6, right? So now see here what is happening. A is at 0 position, it has 1, it is 2, I is at 3, L is at 4, J is at 5. Okay, let me write it in a better way. A K H I L J A I N. Let's write the positions here. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? How many letters in total? 9 letters. And let's say I am trying to use this method substring, which will fetch me the substring from this string. Now this here, right? Whatever you have typed here, it is inclusive. So let's see the what is that third position here. Third position is I. So I, it will start from I. Okay. So you will get I as an output for sure. Okay. And the ending range is 6. So 6 is here, right? 6 is here. So you may think, okay, it should print me from I to A, which is I, L, J, A. The position of I was 3, it was 4, it is 5, and it is 6. But the definition of the substring says whatever you mention here, right, that position will not be taken up, but it is like you can read it like whatever value you've mentioned here, right, -1 it will be picking, so it will not be picking A, but it will be picking till J only, which is n-1. So this is 6 minus 1, right? So this value is inclusive and this is exclusive, so this will not be included. Okay, so the value before this, till then the value would be picked, which is this. Okay, so this is how it defines the boundary, and it will extract this text. So if we go back to our program here, right, and I have 5 comma 9, right, try to see what it will print. It will print, so this is A is at 0, K is at 1, H is at 2, I is at 3, L is at 4, K is at 5. So it will start from 5 from K, and then U is at 6, so it will be picked. M is at 7, A is at 8. Okay, so and R is at 9. So R will not be picked up, right? So what will be picked up from A, from this to this? So it will print KUMA. Okay, let's run this. Huma. Okay, if you wanted to print R also, then what you should do is you should increase the value here till 10, and it will print Kumar, the complete thing, right? Again, it is not that I mean, what you have to learn here is how the substring method works. That's it. Whatever the rules they have built substring with, you have to know about them, and only then you would be able to get the desired output accordingly. Otherwise, it will not do. Okay, there is a alternative, there is one more implementation of the substring method, and in that case, right, it accepts only one input, which is the starting position, right, and the ending position is not taken. But in that case, what will happen is it just starts from that position, and whatever text you have after this, right, everything is grabbed. So if I use that approach, if I say 5, just 5, what it will print, it will find the fifth position. What is the fifth position? A K H I L K. K is the fifth position. So what this will print us is it will first identify this letter, and whatever we have after this, right, everything will be grabbed, and it will print Kumar Jain. Let's see this. Okay, so we have covered length, we have covered uppercase, lowercase, character and substring. Let's cover some more methods. Again, I'm not covering everything. Okay, I'm just trying to cover the methods which you will find which you will be using the most. Okay, so let's see what all methods we have.
Equals ignore case.
Yes, ignore case, right? Equals and also ignore case. Yes, I'll cover that part. Compare to, you can ignore. Concat. Concat is another method I will show. Contains is another method. uh, Content equals. Okay, let's leave that part. Concat, contains. Okay, we'll talk about these two. And ands with we can ignore. Equals and equals ignore case. So four methods: concat, contains, equals and equals ignore case, index of, and replace. Okay, let me write it here, otherwise I will forget. What all methods we have written here? We talked about uh, let's say contains. We're talking about equals. We are talking about equal ignore case, and we're talking about replace. There was one more method we were talking about. Name dot
Index of.
index of. Yes, index of. I will type that index of, and last index of. You can ignore that. Replace is there. Split. Split I will cover when we talk about arrays. Okay, as of now I will not cover it. And I think we are good. So index of, right? Let's cover that method also. Index of. Index of. Split is a very important method, but we will not cover it as of now since we have not talked about arrays. We have not talked about arrays, right?
Yes.
Okay, we have not talked about it. So let's ignore this. So we'll talk about these five methods more about string, and we are done for the string part. The only part which is pending would be static, which we have to understand. So let's just very quickly do this. Okay, let's talk about this index of first. Okay, what does index of means? Here you will be providing a character as an input to it. Okay, and here your intention is to know the position of it. Let's say I provide L here. Okay, so as a output of this, right, what it should print me, it should print me the position of it. What is the position of L? 4, right? So it should print me 4. Let's try this. So in this case I'm providing L here, right? So let me write L here, index of, and I will provide uh, L. Okay, and let's see what it prints. It will print value as 4. You can see, right? It prints value as 4. Okay, so this is very straightforward, right? Now the other method, we have name dot uh, contains. Let's talk about contains now. Okay, contains here, right? So contains, as it means, right, contains. Here we're trying to check, does my string, right, has a specific sequence of characters. Let's say I want to check whether my string Akhil Kumar Jain has Kumar into it or not. If it has Kumar, it should print me true. Otherwise, it should print me false. It is just checking whether that subtext is present inside the complete text or not. If it does, it will return me true. Otherwise, it will return me false. So what I'll do is, let me add here Kumar. Okay, and if I run this, right, it should print me what? Since it does contains Kumar, so it should print me true. You see, it printed me true. If I type here, let's say Vijay, and if I run this, it will print me false. Right? You can see it written me false. So we understand this part. We understand this part. Now let's talk about this replace. Okay, one more method we should understand is this format. This is also another important method. I will talk about this. This is it. Equals, right? Replace and equal. Okay. Let's say that what is the method as the replace, as the name says replace, right? Let's say in the string, right, you want to replace some character with some other character, right? Then you should use this replace method. I mean, right? So let's see what it does. Let's test out name dot replace, right? You can see it says old character with a new character, right? Replace all, replace first and all, right? Okay, let's see what does replace does for us. So let's say that I would try to replace a letter with b. Okay, let's say that I want to replace my a letters with b. Okay, so what I'll do is, so this replace method, right, accepts me two inputs, the character which you want to replace and the character with which you want to replace it with. So I want to replace a with b, so I will provide a first and b later. Okay, so let's provide a and b. If I do this and run this, see, you see here, it replaced everything, right? Every a which I had here, which, so this was a, it converted to b. It was a here, it converted to a b. It was a here, it converted to a b again, right? Similarly, there is an alternative to it. Let's say you want to convert, let me write here, let me write akh multiple times. So this is not a character, it is now like a string, a sequence of characters, right? So what I want to replace it, I want to replace akh gen, akh, I want to replace akh with something else. Can I do it? I think I can. So let's say I will write here which, okay. So I want to replace all three characters. If they found this to be together somewhere, right, it will replace it with these characters. So let's run this. You see, it printed, it converted akh into which here, right? Similarly here, akh, it replaced it with which here. So this is a replacement method. It just replaces whatever text you provide it with, right? So it needs both the inputs. What you want to replace with what value you want to replace. Okay, so we understood replace also. We understood contain. We understood index of. Great. So this is also done. This is also done. Now the equals part. Now let's say you want to compare two strings. Okay, let me make it simple. Tuck, 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 tuck. Let's make it simple as Akhil. Okay, just let's Akhil here. So Akhil here, and what I want to do is I want to replace it. So not replace it. I want to compare it, this value with something else, right? Let's say I want to compare two strings, right? How do you do it? The one of the ways which people would be knowing is you could do something like this. If name equals to Akhil, then print uh, instructor. If it is not Akhil, then print what? Then print student. Okay. If this is the case, it should do this. So in my case, right, what it should print? Instructor. So this is the way which we have learned till now, right? That how to compare the value, we compare it by putting double two equals to sign. So let's run this first. But I am replacing it with this value, right? Let me just do this also. Let me do one thing. Let me just replace. Let me just comment everything here. Okay, so here, right? So okay, so what I was saying here, right? If name equals to Akhil, this is how it looks like. Okay, fine. Let's run this. So what should I get? I should get instructor. You see, it printed an instructor, right? And if I change it to, let's say, Jan, I've written what? Akhil only, right, on the top. So if I compare it to a gen value, it would print me what? It would print me student, right? Okay. So if you want to compare things, you do it this way, right? For strings, there's an alternative way. What you can do is, instead of doing this, right? What you can do is you can use a method which a string provides, which is this name dot equals. Okay, and whatever value you want to compare it with, place it in the brackets. So this is same as this thing, name equals to gen. Okay, so instead of doing this, you wrote this. This means the same thing. So it is here comparing this name with this value. If it equals, it will return this value. If it does not equal, it will return student. Let's run this. You can see it printed student, right? If I change it to Akhil, it will print instructor, right? Now one last thing about the method, right? We have another method which says equals ignore case. Let's say that someone who's provided me this value of Akhil, right? They did not care about putting everything into small or caps, or maybe it's a combination of small and caps, right? But the value is still Akhil, right? Now I don't want to care about like whether they provided into a caps thing or a small thing, right? I just, what I care about is the value, which is Akhil. So what I can do is I will just compare it as equals ignore case, right? If you provide here Akhil here, all caps, on the top I have provided what? All small, right? Okay, let me make some modifications. Let me provide K as capital and L as capital, and on the bottom I will provide the compared value as A to be capital and let's say KH I to be capital and L to be small. So here you can see, right, in both the values, right, there is the difference is in the like what letters are upper or lower case, right? But here with this method, right, it will ignore all of those cases and it will just look at the value. The value is Akhil here also and here also. So it will still say this is equal. Right? It says instructor here. If I, okay, but if you would use equal, right, and not if you use equals and not equals ignore case, it will return as what? Student. It will not return as instructor. Okay, so one more learning is that the value in string, right, or the things in Java is case sensitive. Okay, so when you would be comparing the value, you have to make sure that the cases are same. And if you don't want to care about it, you should use a method saying equals ignore case. Okay. Okay. I think these are the all the methods which you should be knowing. Format, leave it as of now. Okay. I'll compare it somewhere else. Not today. Okay. Now, okay, one more thing which was pending, I believe, which was the concatenation operation. Concat. See, concat means that you can club two things together and merge it into one. So let's say I have two variables, string first name as Akhil, and there's another variable, let's say last name Jen. And now I want to merge these two words together. I want to print something like Akhil Jen and store it into a variable. So what I can do is I can create a variable string, uh, let's say last name, and what I can do is I can do this first name plus last name. So what will happen is Akhil will be coming from here, Jen will be coming from here, and it will concatenate. How do you join two strings together? By using this plus icon. So this is one of the ways. So you have to use this plus icon, and in terms of string, this will merge those two strings together. So Akhil will be coming from here, Jen would be coming from here. Let's see this also. So Akhil is here, and let's say string last name has to be capital. Jen. And what you should do is s out, not s out. Let me just first create one variable. String full name equals to name plus last name, right? And if you print this full name, okay, let me write full name. Full name, full name here, right? If you print this, it will print this value plus this value, and it will look like you can see, right? It printed the everything here, clubbing together. So you could do it this way, or you could do this way. You could write this way. Full name. Instead of writing full name, what you could do is name dot concat, and whatever you want to concatenate with the value of name, you should provide here. So I'm trying to concatenate this name with this ln, okay, and I'm printing this out. So if you run this, you will get the same output, Akhiljan, right? So concatenation means to concatenate, I mean to add these two things together. And in string, this is what it means. It merges those two strings together, one after another. Okay, so what is missing from our discussion is format and split. We will talk about these two later. But I think this should be very straightforward, right? And I told you string is case sensitive. If you provide small a or capital A, it will make a difference. Okay. Okay, I think this is enough about string as of now. Why I really went into every method here is, see, I will not be going every method for every class. No, I will not be doing it. This is what you have to do at your end, and I will anyhow tell you like what are the important things which you should be knowing. But string is a special case because you would be getting a lot of programming questions over the net, or maybe in your interview question or somewhere, right, which will require a lot of I mean implementation on the string side. So that's why I thought that it would be better if I can cover all the methods which are important within the string, so that you have that understanding and you can use it whenever required. Okay, so this is about string class, and this should be good. Okay. Okay, now the next part for today, which is the static, which is a very important part again. Okay, let me just a second, give me a sec. Okay. Okay, what I was saying, the static part. Okay, what is a static thing, right? Again, static is a keyword again, right? It's a keyword again. We have learned a lot of keywords, right, in Java. Okay, so static is again a keyword here. Now, what really is a static thing? Have we used static keyword somewhere before now? Does anyone know?
Public static.
Yes, in main method, the
Method.
magic.
Right? Public static void means, see, everyone remembers, right? Everyone remembers because I said it's a magic method now, right? Now again, let's review that method. We said public static void main, right? And this is how it looked like, right? And this is where you would be adding your logic. So now what do you know about this, right? You know about methods. How do you create methods? So it's a method first of all. Now you know how to create methods, so now you can understand it's a method. Okay, first thing. Second thing, you know, okay, it's a public access modifier, so you understand this part also. If you have marked this public, it means that this method here can be accessed from anywhere. So we are good with this part also. We know about this main thing, right? It's a name. It's just a name of the method, whatever it could be. But for our magic method, our Java programmer decided that it should always be called main. Why? Because JVM, when it starts running your program, it looks for a method named as main, which has this signature. So in their programming, right, in when they design this JVM, they have uh, put it into the programming of JVM that it should always look for a method which is with the name as main. So that's why we have to mark it as main, but it's a method name. So we understand this part, we understand this part, we understand the entire part, and we understand this part. This is void, so it will not return anything, not return anything, right? And this is like an argument which you're providing of array type. Array we have not discussed, but we understand this is like an argument which you are providing, right? So almost everything is clear here except this part. Why in the blue hell we have static here? What is the purpose of it? And why this method is termed as a magic method? Okay, this is the part now which will answer this, right? Why this is a magic method? Okay. L- let me ask who. Okay, I see a lot of people dropped. Okay, okay, no worries. uh Let me ask who. Let me ask Ashok. Ashok, tell me, if I create a class like this, public class, and let me name it as student, right? And and I have a method here, let's say learn public void, let's say get details, and let's say it has some logic here which it will do and print something, right? And now there is, so this is one class, this is one class here, and there's another class which where I am writing, let's say public uh, class demo run. Okay, and in this class I have a, let's say this method only, public static void main. I have this main method, and here in this method, right, I want to access this method get details. How can I access it? Tell me the syntax of it.
Create an object of that class.
Tell me the
Student,
syntax. Student.
object name obj
Okay, let's say obj
is equal to new student.
new student. Okay, so this is how you will create the instance of that class, which is fine. But how to access this method now? What should I type?
Obj dot get details.
Get details. Okay. Do you know? Okay. So so everyone is okay with this, right? With this answer which Ashok provided. This is how you access the get details method, right? Right, everyone? I
Yes.
hope yes. So I hope everyone's saying yes. Okay. Now let me ask you. Can someone tell me, is there any alternative way of accessing this get details method? Can I access this get details method without creating the instance of this class?
Class name dot method.
Okay.
By
Can
making
I do this?
static.
Which is what I will come to next, right? As an output, as an explanation. But let's say I'm not doing this, but without making it static, can I access this? Can I access that method without creating an object? Siddesh, you said what? You saying student? So what you're saying is class name dot method name, right?
Yes. But
Yes, you're saying I should type here student dot get details, right? You're saying this.
yes. But
Will it work?
mm,
It will not work. Okay.
mm,
To make it work, right? To make it work only, right? Okay. First of all, what you're doing? See, okay. Let us. So everyone is getting right. My question is, I know that if I have to access this method, which is sitting inside the student class, right? If I need to access this, the only possible solution which we know till now, right? Which we know as of now is you will have to create the instance of the class and then use that variable name to access the method of it, right? This is the only way which we have learned from our Java classes till now, right? And I'm asking, is there any alternative way? To which Siddesh has mentioned that you can do this, right? Let's try to see this. Okay, Java I did. Okay, let me very quickly. Okay, here only, right? I have an animal class and I have a eat method, right? And I want to access this inside, uh, let's say animal demo. Let me create a class animal demo. Okay, so I create a class animal demo, and let me open animal in the right split very quickly, and let me close everything else, close tabs, close other tabs, right? Now I'm saying I have a magic method, let's say, and here I want to access the animal a1 equals to new animal, and this is how we know about to access that eat method, right, everyone? Everyone should be okay with it, right? And let me run this also just to make sure that this works. This is what we have learned till now. You can see it prints animal rating. So this way you are able to access this method. Now what I'm saying is there any way that I don't have to create the instance of my class? If I comment this out, can I access this eat method somehow? You can see, right? A1 is giving an error because A1 line has I have commented. So there is nothing called A1 as of now. So let me remove A1. And I cannot type eat because now this method does not know where eat is, because for sure animal demo does not have a eat method, right? And here this is what it is complaining about. It is saying I cannot know what is eat here, right? So the answer to our question was that we will have to create an instance of a class and then access it through that instance. But I am saying you do not have that option anymore. You can't use it, right? So I'm asking, is there any alternative way? To which Siddesh said that okay, let's do this way. Use the class name directly, right, and put a dot after it and try to access each method. You see, Siddesh, you getting your answer right? It is complaining.
Yes.
It is complaining
Yes.
as of now. Why it is complaining? Okay, first of all, it complains, right? This is specifically to Siddesh. It is complaining. So you should understand this part. Why it is complaining? Although your whatever we have written right is right, but why it is complaining is because you have not marked your eat method as static.
Hmm.
Let me mark it as static, and you see the error is gone. And if you run it now, you can see, right, I am not creating the instance of my class. I am not creating that instance of the class. I am directly accessing the method by the class name itself. I just came to know about the class name. I used it. Dot whatever method I want to access, which are static in nature, only those will work. If I have another method, right? Let's say public void walk, and if I try to, let's say walk, and if I try to access that walk here, right? I cannot access it. It will complain because walk is not static, right? So it will complain. But because eat method was static, I was able to access directly with the class name without even need to create that instance of that class. Okay, let me run this. You see, I'm still able to run this. Now let's answer this question, right? If your need is that you do not want to create the instance of a class, okay, you do not want to create the instance of a class, but you want to access some methods which is residing inside that class. So what you should do is you should mark your those methods with this static keyword. Okay, now using this, whenever whichever method is marked with static, right, you can access those methods directly with using only the class name. In those cases you do not even have to create the instance of those classes. You can see here we did not create the instance of this class, animal class. We just use the class name dot and we access that method, eat method. Okay, why we would do it, why would we would not do it, that is something which we will understand during the course of our program. But just understand there is a thing called static. If you mark a method as static, you can directly access it by using the class name. You use class name dot and the method name. Similarly for the variables also, if I want to access a variable, let's say int a, let me mark it as public. Okay, let me mark it as public int a. If I try to access, let's say 10, it's a value of 10, right? I want to access this method. Can I access this a like this? No, first of all, because this class does not know about a resides here, right? Now how can I access it? People may think, okay, let me try to use it from animal only. See, the possible solution is you have to create the instance of the class, and then using that variable name you can access that variable, which we know, right? But I'm saying if we don't create that instance, how to access this variable? Let's try the same way. Animal dot a, right? Here it is complaining. First of all, this is correct. You can access this a variable like this, but what is the problem here is that you have not marked this as static. Mark this variable as also as static, and you will be able to access this method, this variable directly, like this. You will have to use this, right? You cannot just keep it like there. You can see, right? You're able to access that method of A. If you remove static, it will throw error. That why are you trying to access a method here? Yes, Siddesh, please ask.
Can you play with the final keyword? Final int a equal to 10.
Okay.
Okay. And
Final is for some different purpose, right? Static is for different purpose.
yeah,
So let's remove this static, right? Let's put it back. So how to access a variable directly out, I mean directly through the class name without creating instance of the class? Just simply mark that variable as static. Similarly for the method, if you want to access a method without creating the instance, right? And if you want to access a method inside the class, what you should do is mark that method as static, and you would be able to access variable and methods directly using the class name if you have marked them as static. Conditions apply. Okay, so this is what static helps you with on the variable side and the method side. You do not have to create the instance of a class, you can directly access them. The importance of everything here, right? Static, string, the other variables. When we discuss about memory management, right? All of these things will start making a lot of sense. Okay, and that is one area when we start discussing that, right? You will start realizing that why this is behaving that way, right? And why these are special in this way. And we will have that session. Okay. Yes, Atul, please.
Akhil, so when we create an instance of a class, so then you can assign your custom value to those instance variables, right?
Right.
Can we also achieve it by making them static?
Okay. See here, let's see here this, right? A. Okay. Let me create two variables. See, that is the part which I was leaving it for the memory management. Okay. that that is the part I was trying to leave it there. But let's
No,
let's
no,
let's
that's okay if you want to talk about it later.
no, no, let's do one thing. Since you asked, let me not keep it waited, right? Let me just answer one thing for you. Let's say I have two variables. Okay, two types of variable. One is A. Let me give it a proper name. Let's say age. Okay, and I will create another variable as int tuck, 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 public int. Let me give it as 0. Okay, okay, let me not give it any value. It's a static, it's an instance variable. So what value this age will get? Anyone?
By default, 0.
0, right? Similarly, let's create another variable, but this time this variable is not static. Okay, so let me make it as age is one thing. Let's say roll number. So animal also has a roll number. Okay, so let's say this is, or let me say ID. ID would be the right part. Okay, ID. So by default, it's again a instance variable. So what value it will hold? 0. So for both the values, the value should be 0. Let me do one thing. Let me first comment this out. Okay, I will not use it as is. What I will do is I will create the instance of this animal class. I will create two instances of this animal class. Okay,
Sure.
animal, let's say lion. Okay, and okay, let me do one thing. Let me make it as string, not this. Let me make it as string, and I will make it as name. Okay, so that I can provide the value. Now I am creating a animal lion. Okay, and this is how you create it. Instance of it. Animal. Yes, and let me get another variable. Animal. Let's say tiger. Equals to new animal. Right. Ideally, if you talk about this ID part, right? So I want to assign, I mean, unique IDs to these animals, right?
Right.
Right. So what I should do? Let me say that okay, lion will have an ID of what? Let's say 10. Okay, let's say it's a 10, and tiger will have an ID of what as 20. Let's say. Okay, And if I try to print this lion.id, let me print this. Lion.id is here, and let me print tiger.id here, right? What value should you get? You should get 10 here
1 and 20.
and 20 here.
Right.
Is everyone with me right on this? We are understanding this, right? This is we have not learned, we are not doing something new here. Ignore this part. This is what we have been doing about these other parts. Okay, so let's just run this. So what you will get, 10 and 20. 10 and 20, right? Now let's talk about this name part. Name is marked as static.
Right.
Name is marked as static, right? Let me say lion dot name equals to lion. First of all, understand this, that you can still access a static variable by through the instance also. You can see I am not using animal.name. Okay, I am not writing like animal.name, although I can do this. I can, let's say, lion, tiger, elephant, let's say. Okay, you can see I can do this, and then I can do it directly by the class name because it's a static variable, as I explained the rule, right?
Right.
But you can still access this name variable by the instance also, lion.name. Okay, and let me access it through the other instance, the object which I created, which is tiger.
Okay.
So tiger.name, and I will assign tiger. Now, okay, let me first of all comment this out, so ignore this part. Now just think about this. Okay, what I'll do is, let me keep in continuation, and let me just go here, lion.name, and do tiger.name. Okay, and now tell me, Atul, from your perspective, what should be the output here? What should this line print? Line number 20.
Lion,
Okay, and what should this tiger print?
tiger.
Okay, except Avilash, tell me, is anyone think like the value would be something else?
1020 lion tiger.
10, 20?
1020 lion tiger it will print, I think.
So the same, right? As what Atul said, right? Any different opinion anyone has? No? Okay, Abhilash, what do you think? What it would print? Line number 20.
Elephant.
No. Elephant line, so I have commented out, right?
Acha, right.
So it is not in the picture. Abhilash, you there? Okay, Abhilash is not there anymore. Okay, great. So okay, so let's run this, right? Let's see this. It prints tiger and tiger, not lion and tiger. Now you have to understand this, okay? What is happening here? See, when you mark something as static, right? What we learned when I told you, right, about object creation. I told you a class is like a blueprint.
Right.
A class is like a blueprint where you have some things as empty. Let's say this was the name field which was empty. ID was another thing which was empty, and this is a class thing. This is an animal class which you created, and you created two objects of it. So here I created a lion object, and I tried to fill it, right? But understand, I have marked this as static, and this is non-static. So here, when I did this, right, this is one copy, this is another copy which is going to tiger. Okay, so whatever rules I have explained you, right, for ID it will still make sense. Okay, ID it will still make sense, but for the name, right, as soon as you make something as static, it is like it will not be shared. Sorry, it will not, it will, I mean, it will be shared. So it's like it is like that over in from these two fields, right? What will happen is only the fields which are non-static, right, would be passed on as individual copies. Okay, so lion will get an ID where it can fill its own copy. Tiger will get an ID where it will fill its own copy. But this will be a shared value which both of them will share. Whether you make a change through lion or whether you make a change through tiger, this is, you do not have a value here. Where the value resides? In the template itself. So you are making a direct change here, not here anymore.
Hmm.
Okay. So when I said lion dot name and I said what, lion, right? It filled it as lion. Okay. And but after this line itself, I said tiger dot name equals to tiger. So what it did, it removed this and put it as tiger. And then when I was accessing like lion dot name, right, which value it will be accessing? This value only. What is the value here? Tiger, right? Not lion.
Right.
So this is printing tiger. And similarly for tiger dot name, what is happening? It is again, it could not find anything here, right? Where it is finding that value? Both of them are pointing to what? The same value, which is this, right? And here also, both are adding to the same value. So static, you can think it's like a single value, right? Which will not be like individual copies. It will be like a shared value. It is just one. It is just one, right? And it will be placed, like you can understand, it is getting placed directly in the template. It is not getting shared. It is not getting a copy to individual copies there. It is something which is shared by everyone.
Yeah.
If
So
one
even
makes,
though it's an instance variable, but then it literally is not acting as a instance variable when you have mapped it.
absolutely correct, absolutely correct, absolutely correct. But the rules of default values will still be applied to this.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay.
So this is more of like making your variable as a final thing or a constant thing.
No, these are not those parts, right? This is just that you want to have a single value to this value. You do
Shared
not want to
across
share.
all the instances.
Yes, this is something which you want to share across any instance value you want to create.
Mm-hmm.
So that is what the objective of static is. You want to share it with everyone, okay? So that if one makes a change to it, the change is reflected to everyone, okay? That is what the purpose of it. Second purpose is that you can access this variable without creating the instance of a class. And again, with this explanation, it also explains that part, right? That this value here is not attached to any instance. It is directly attached to a class. So you can access this value directly through a class also, right?
Right. So my original question was that you wrote that line, right? Animal dot
Hmm.
name equals elephant. Now,
Hmm.
for example, in continuation to these two lines, lion dot name equals lion and tiger dot name equals tiger. For example, the third line being animal dot name equals elephant. So in that case, it would have overwritten the value from
Right,
tiger to elephant, right?
right. That is what it is doing. Everything here is pointing to the same variable, which is
Hmm.
this. Whether you do it this way, or this way, right? Or everything is pointing to this variable here only, which is like a single copy. It is not. It is not like multiple copies are getting created of it. It's a
Right.
single copy. So whatever changes you are making, it is the changes are happening here. And since I'm saying that this is like something which is sitting inside the blueprint only and is not getting copied to every instance, that's why you could access it through this method, right? And why it is used in the magic method now. Let's understand that part also. Why it is getting used in magic method. See, JVM does not have a need to create the instance of your class now because your main method is static. What it will simply do is you will just tell him that this is my class. It does not need to create the instance of it. It will just use the class name and dot main,
Right.
right? This is what JVM does. JVM simply does this part. You tell that, okay, I want to run this class, okay, and from there you remember, right? How do you write we checked in the CLI part, right? If you create this animal class or student class, what do you do in CLI? First you do this javec student dot java. It
Mm-hmm.
converts the java file into class file, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then to run this file, what do? You provide the class name, right?
Java
Student,
student.
Java student. What JVM will do is JVM will know, okay,
Student dot
student is a class name, which is fine, but it does not need to create the instance of it. What JVM simply does is it goes there and do student.main, and whatever input you would have provided here, let's say after this, right, it would all pass them, it will convert them into an array of string and pass it as an input to this.
Hmm.
And this is what JVM does. That's it.
Right.
Now the magic method understanding should be very clear to everyone. Why it is happening? Because of the static keyword. Because of the static keyword, you don't have to create the instance of that class.
And thus it also saves on memory.
Yes, you can say that, because you don't have to create a copy of it.
Yeah.
But again, we do not care about memory, because see, with Java there is one more additional point. You do not have to care about memory a lot, because garbage collector is there, which takes all the actions automatically without you telling it. So Java has a concept of garbage collection, where it automatically clears the memory, right, and makes spaces for you if it finds something that can be cleared, and it can save some space. Okay, so like, and unlike C and C++, which I don't have a command on, but in those languages, right, I think you have to care about that memory management a lot. That if you are creating some variable, you have to make sure that you are nullifying it, so that the memory can be released. But in this part, the all of this is taken care by garbage collectors. We do not have to do a lot of things here. Okay.
Right. So I think that if I go back to my original question, so you can still access your static instance variables directly, and can also override them with your custom value. That's
Right.
doable.
Right. That is how it is. It works.
Yeah. Mhm.
But we have to understand why it is happening that way, and this explanation will help.
Yeah. The only demerit, if we can call it so, would be that it would change the value for everybody consuming that value.
Right. And but that is the nature of that static variable.
Yeah.
Right.
That can also serve as a merit or demerit depending on how you have consumed it. Yeah.
Absolutely right. But we are talking about variables currently, right?
Right.
We are not talking about methods. So you have to understand, if you want to have a method which can be accessible to everyone, right? And
Mhm.
without creating the instance of the class, you should be marking it as static, and then you can use it, right?
Right.
So that is the purpose of marking some method as static. And for variable, we understood it's like a single copy shared with everyone.
Right.
Right? So this is how it works, right? And I think we are good for today. We learned what? We learned final.
Yeah.
We learned about the string class. We learned about the
Static.
static, right? And we also covered the overall understanding of our magic method, like why it is called a magic method. There is nothing magical about it if you understand each and every word which is written there, right? Each and every word has a meaning. What is public? Why is public? If I mark it as private, you cannot access it outside the class. So how would JVM will access it, right? If I mark it as protected, it is confined to the package level, right? Again, how will JVM access it? If you mark it as default, how will JVM access it, right? Void, because you do not want to return anything to JVM. JVM's job is to just run it. Whatever is written inside this can be executed. JVM does not expect any output from it, right? JVM just the job of JVM is to just run it. It is not expecting any output to be written from that method. So that's why you're using void. Why
Hmm.
string arguments, which is an array of strings? Because you could provide some string values to it, which you could collect inside your method and maybe do some operations on it. If I give you an example on this also, right? Try to understand there are some arguments which a developer would be providing, or maybe we also provides in our case, right? When we are trying to run our program through CLI, let's say I want to provide my browser name through CLI. How will I provide it? I can provide through this main method, right? If I want to use directly the if I don't want to use test engine, maybe use this program here. I can write a logic inside my main method that, okay, whatever input I will receive, please consider it as my browser name, right? And whatever value I'm getting, just spin that browser and automate things for me, right? And the last part is the main name of it. That is just the name of the method. Okay, so again, you should think in a lot of different directions, and collecting all the knowledge which we are gathering, right? because of our Java module, I think each and everything will get sorted. You will not face any issue after these classes, right? But you have to make sure that you're going back and practice and revising all the concepts here. Okay, enough of this. I think we are good. Okay, so any question anyone has? No questions? I think we are good for today, right? Okay. Thank you so much for joining. Let's meet tomorrow. Okay. I will share whatever we have to discuss tomorrow. I will share in tomorrow's morning Discord channel. Okay.
Thank you so much, Akil.
Thank you, Atul. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay.
Bye.
Good night. Good night. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, sir. Bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.